Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Couples Love Language. We actually have a special treat today. We have Mr. and Ms. Najjar returning for part two. And I'm just so excited to dive into our topic today. We're going to talk about courtship and the value of courtship, and then we're going to expand more about the mission statement and why those the different types of mission statements that help us to be successful. So before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The optimal word here is make sure you share this information with someone else. Thank you so much for joining me again today and bringing more of your wisdom to the table. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. We were looking forward to being at the table again once more. We felt it was so enjoyable the first time. Enjoyable in the sense that I think we cannot keep a secret and a treasure chest, because it must not be. I think that's what we have because of the duration of our time together as a couple, from courtship days to today, which I still do a lot of courting. I feel that is the essence of the life that keeps a marriage going. And decades upon decades, it can be refreshed all the time. And courtship is at the heels of that.
I love that. Refresh the courtship. I love it.
So I want to show you something, and I'm going to use some photos to make it clear to people what we are, how courtship really looks like from the days when we really started to court. But then we lost the appetite and the passion for it. But I'm going to do some things. I took something this.
Oh, 50
and
Christmases.
The guy in the back is me, and the little blushing lady there is my wife.
That is beautiful.
I continue. It happens to be white doves. It could be black doves. It could be brown doves. It could be any dove,
Oh.
But this is a great picture, and that's why I chose it. And if you look at what might have been written on the side, which I handwritten, was both of us indicating our love for each other 50 years since. That is a sign of genuine courtship. I got a picture that I saw too, which I asked somebody for and got it. There you are again, two people. And
Beautiful.
there's a courting. So I have one more, and I want to show you. My voice is there, and I can show you much more, but I would, because I feel pictures are 1,000 words.
Oh my goodness, especially for us visual learners. That is so beautiful.
Well, she is courting me there. As you can see, I'm looking at her, and she's after me, right?
I see it in her eyes.
I tell you. And here we have a beautiful one with sunset. Sorry for blocking that I took in our backyard with a sunset. Well, both of us are showing sincere interest and love for each other in this photo.
That is beautiful. Somebody's a romantic here.
We love the romantic part of it. Certainly I do. Lastly, this was in Canada, and here we are again.
Oh, I love that scenery. That is beautiful. The whole, everything, the ambiance, the couple there, just everything. That's absolutely beautiful.
And the hug. You see my hands?
I see it. I see the hug.
So what I wanted to say about courtship to people, that it is something that you have to constantly be firing up yourself. What did I do in a while? I do love this person sincerely, and we can't just be ambling around into a kind of retirement mode. There's a book that I read, Retire, Don't Retire, Refire. Well, that is for people who cannot, continue working and they retire, and the advice is don't retire, refire. So keep refiring, in your love for the person, and pursue it, whether it's to I drive up to her office and leave her with a rose or a card when she's teaching, and when she comes out, she sees it at her desk. It is not just romantic, it is reminding, refreshing, rebooting our lives, because it could get dreary. And it must be done. Change of clothes, what you wear, look how beautiful she looks. You know, all she needs is lipstick. And then that's it, you know. Being conscious of what will fire up. It's like what, and this is a very good point I'll leave you with, and we move on from courtship. Mother Teresa once said when she was 13 years old, they asked her, why was she smiling so much? How she always wears that smile? And she said, well, my mom would be working in the house, doing everything that she should and could. And then when she looks at her watch and she knows her husband is coming home, she goes inside and she refreshes herself, you know, powder up, I don't know, do whatever it is, but she said, and she will go to the door. As he knocks, he opens it, and there's this big smile she had on her face, because the smile mattered when the husband came home. Her dad, whatever problems he had, he came to the house. There must not be added problems. So, you know, that spirit of looking out for each other is critical. Constant courtship is a vital part of enjoying life and marriage.
That's beautiful. There's a song, and it's called "You Are My Ministry." And I love music, and the essence of what you're saying here is that your husband, your wife, your companion, that's your ministry, to be able to take care of their heart. And that's what I hear you saying about rebooting, refreshing, you know, and just a reminder. You know, I love that what you just said about Mother Teresa going in and, you know, making sure that she was, you know, her beautiful self when he came through the door. These are the little things, the little nuances that are lost, and then you drift. But when you constantly keep that, you know, so thank you for being that beautiful example. So, I mean, hey, here we go, refresh courtship, and courtship is constant. That's one of the answers. Okay.
Yes, it is constant. Keep it refreshing, just like you do your computer or your phone.
Yes. Most people think of courtship as before marriage. If you ask the average person, they say, oh, yeah, I courted her for 2 years or so. They're talking about before marriage, as if courtship finishes at marriage. And I think what Hannibal is trying to drive home is that the courtship has to continue through the marriage.
I think too with that it's a habit, because that's something that the art of courtship has been lost. You know, even in the modern dating arena or what have you, you know, and I think I'm just an old fashioned girl with an old spirit that, you know, I think that is just so beautiful. I watch my parents, I watched the courtship, but now when you say courtship, it seems like, you know, what is that? So that's why this is so important that we're having this conversation, so that I'm not the only one out here yelling, ladies, there is a such thing as courtship. Wait for it.
No, it's constant. Yeah, and you're exactly right. It's a lost art. And my dad would have loved to have known how to court. He was raised in Lebanon, in the Middle East, the old Arab way of life, but he loved my mother dearly. He just didn't have the know-how how to go about doing it. And that really was something I wish he had learned. This is, where's the, let me get this quick photo here.
He left us.
This is wonderful, but the care that he's taking with this podcast and with the conversation is the same care I see in the courtship, which is beautiful to watch.
Well, I want it to be natural. Let everybody know that what we are doing is sharing our natural lives in a natural way, for them to be naturally soaked up in what is being shared, and then turn to each other, young couples, older couples, and refresh themselves. This is my mom and dad, and he is strong as an ox in an attitude, but he will soften and crumble, you know, when he gets a little hurt. So that's that's the kind of thing that he didn't know what to do. And, you know, we cannot forget how to do it and let our children see it. And our children see us in that way lots, and they speak about it.
Now, if you were telling the young men of today, if you were telling them, if they say, I have no clue, no idea what to do, how do I court? I'm interested in this young lady, but how do I court her? What advice would you give him?
Well, the first thing I would say to them is, throw a quick question out there. Did you, you got married because of the person that you loved? But
no, she asked.
Yes, the first thing I will say is to remind the individual, why did you get married? Yeah, obviously it's because you love that person. Now, are you loving the person that you marry? You married the person you love. Are you loving the person that you marry now after you have married year after year after year? So think of the point of which you made that decision, why you made such a strong decision to rule other ladies out of your life, because you saw not just the beauty of this person physically, but in the person, the whole person. So begin there. And I would say then that it is their ways. They get on the internet and they learn. They are very good. This show is a way that when this goes out, it can be said. Other things that can be found on how do you go ahead courting. I would say it begins with small little things. You know, my wife is in the computer working. I will just come up sometimes behind her and just give her a little hug and give her a little kiss. And you begin with sensitizing yourself to the value of that person. The question has to be put to the individual. The young man has to be asking, how much of it I want? Taking a rose on a no occasion day, or writing a note. I wrote a letter here to her for Mother's Day. I'm not going to read it, but I write my heart out so that it's never doubted, and it's never so intermittent that you forget the last time you get it. It's a constant thing. That it's like you eat for your body, you eat for your soul.
And so what I'm hearing you say is those same principles that you're using or that you're utilizing in marriage, you can still use those same principles to court someone before marrying. Because oftentimes, even the before, because everybody, you know, nowadays, everything is so instant and so quick. So nobody's taking the time to simmer in that courtship even before they get married. So what I'm hearing you say is that the same, you know, sensitizing yourself to the person that you're interested in, sensitizing yourself to her and what her, you know, what her love language is. And then playing to that love language, but with the sincerity, not because you're trying to trick her into loving you, but with your sincerity and being able to be open and express your emotion is what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly correct. And one of the things I would give them advice on, I give it to all my students, and they come back to me and say, Coach, that was the best piece of advice I ever got. In this technology day, when you're going to tell your wife something, don't necessarily put it on your text and send it. Don't send words. If two people who were in love before marriage went to two different schools, but they're trying to keep each other in touch with each other, in touch, they use the phone. I say, okay, use the phones because it is available, but write a letter. Take a pen and write a letter and put this, use your own sealant, put it in, put the stamp, mail it, let her open it up and wait for the voice of the person to call you and say, I got that letter. When they're reading that, they know you took time. When you're doing something on the computer, you don't have to take time. You copy and paste, and it corrects. It doesn't have the energy in it of the love that you want to convey.
That's it right there. I was listening for you to say that. It's their energy, their spirit that they're putting into those words. I was waiting to connect with that. I was like, it's coming. Well, that is beautiful. And you know, for our listeners and our, you know, folks that are tuning in, you know, I just hope that piece of, that you're taking notes, and those nuggets, you're writing those down. Those are keys to success in courtship. So
This guy, a quick point here. This guy who was making cookies, a African-American guy who started a cookie business in California. They asked him what was the big reason, the big thing that he could say that got him started and making him successful. You see, I began at the beginning. I started to do it. So for the young person, step out and do what is needed. You care about that person and initiate. Let the first cookie go into the jar and then start adding and see the response. And then you learn from the ways and the smiles what was nice about it as far as she sees it. And I am speaking for the men, but the women owe it to be courteous and type of courting. I ask my wife sometimes, how come I'm always telling you 15 times a day how much I love you and I get 15 smiles? I want to hear it in your mouth as well, but I know how much she is different than me.
Right. That's awesome though. But I like that instruction that you gave. Sometimes we have to teach each other what our love language is, because if we stay in silence, the other person doesn't know. I read it, I believe it was one of the examples they gave in the 5 love languages of love, was how the husband would always get the wife roses or get the wife flowers, and he didn't understand why they weren't on the same page. And when they finally went to counseling, she said, all I wanted you to do was pick up your shoes. she didn't care about the flowers, but they never openly communicated that to one another. So that's just a good point about learning, and what you just said about expressing what your love language is. So going into the mission statement and the vision, that was it was just so interesting to me how you broke those down, and how I believe that is one of the keys to ultimately your success. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mission and the vision and the different types of mission statements that you've worked from?
I will do that. I will start it because, this is the thing that I believe as an administrator, as an athletic director, as a vice president. The school's mission and vision is what you want to sell your faculty and your students and staff on. And if they buy into it, then you have a cohesive energy that is being seen and felt by everybody who is foreign to it or who's new or comes on the campus. So I will say, I will read something that I took, and again, I'm learning to be able to say something more precise. And that's why when you say tell the young man how to start a court, you could start by listening to good people who have things on the internet. A mission statement describes the present activity or set of activities. Basically, it's the activity or set of activities. The vision statement paints a picture of the entity's future, the future. So I cast a vision, and I use this example. I tell the young men when I'm teaching Bible class, you want to understand what a vision is and what a mission? The girl that you see that you like and you feel from where you are now, your vision is being with that person. In the final analysis, that is the trophy that you want to win, you want to have. The mission is doing what it takes to get that. The day-to-day proceedings. The person said here, put another way, a mission describes, I put this in here, a couple's or family's reasons for existing now, while the vision provides its future purpose. A mission is filled of goals and objectives, and a vision stands as the item that the goals and the objectives are desirous of achieving. So as an individual, with what I said earlier on, we all have visions for ourselves. Now we calculate how we want to achieve that. That's our mission. Then there's the vision and mission of couples. We have visions of each other. separately, and then together we got married, and together now we are now assembling, before we got children, assembling a vision and a mission for our couples, as a couple. Things that would stand out. And some of the personal, let me back up one little bit, the personal vision statements could be, as a person like me, remaining faithful, especially when no one is looking. I want in my life that I will always be faithful to God and to the people who I don't even know are seeing me, especially when no one is looking. Right? You have something you want to enter there, or you just wait? Yeah, I'll just, such are like that, you know. I would say too, for me, I remember John Wooden from UCLA, a basketball player and coach, Hall of Famer, would say it in a poem form. He says, "A careful man I want to be, a little fellow follows me. I dare not to go astray, for fear he will go the self-same way." That is planting a vision in your mind of how you want to live as a person. Now, that could be a couple's vision too. And the mission is we are practicing out those things that would make us achieve that. There's another one that I love in a poem form. I sort of adjusted a poem that I read in an old English book. It says, "See that sunbeam darting through the room, scattering the darkness, lighting up the gloom. Let me be a sunbeam wherever go my feet, making glad and happy everyone I meet." If you recite that and open your front door and walk out, you have set yourself things that you know you're going to do that day because you have put that vision in front of you.
Wow.
That,
I've taken so many notes here. I feel like I'm in class, but I need this. Just like our visit, I mean, our people in our community, you know, these are things that are always, they're just not taught. And so this is so rich. I mean, I get caught up. I'm just like, I'm in class. I'm just taking notes here. I'm doing what I asked everybody else to do. Grab a pen and a piece of paper and take some nuggets. So that's what I'm doing here.
this is a vital one too, and I think that could wrap up vision and mission between as individuals and as couples. This one is kind of for the couple. What therefore God had put together, let no man put asunder. A biblical message, a very good message. And when we took to each other, we heard that, no, we have to live it. It is a vision, but it is a practice. And therefore it puts feet onto it to make it walk and work as the mission towards the vision.
That's awesome. Anything to add, my dear?
Well, that's true. I was thinking that first one that he quoted, "A careful man I want to be, a little fellow follows me," that kind of vision is especially important if children are part of the marriage, which is the norm. You have kids following you, growing up in the home, and from day one, they see and observe. And in a lot of cases, when you look at the marriages they go on to make, they often model the marriage that they grew up under, you know. And therefore, I think the strength of your resolve to make the marriage work and to make the home a happy home and to set all the right examples for the kids is strengthened by the fact that you know that your children and your grandchildren, therefore, because of your children, therefore your grandchildren, you know, that whatever sacrifices and whatever effort you put into the marriage will stand in good stead for generations to come. And therefore, I think that can really help you on any day or any period of life where it's maybe a little difficult or trying to keep the resolve to keep the marriage and the home a happy home.
Where do you keep your vision and your mission statements?
This is our mission statement, family mission statement.
Framed. Yes.
It's hanging on the wall. I made copies for all my children. Our children, sorry, I don't want to speak singularly, like if I made anybody. She made them. God helped me make it. So this one pager is what I'll say called a family mission statement. We did this after we had all our 4 children. And in it, we put the precepts of the things that we feel that were important. And we had them sit, though they were ranging in ages. Maybe at the time, it was 1999.
Our last child was there for 10 years of age, and the first child would have been 18.
Okay.
So they were on the younger side, but certainly old enough to make input. Even a 10-year-old can voice and express some things that they want the home and the family to be. They would be talking about it from a family's perspective. So I think, that wasn't too young. And for the first child who was 18, that is certainly a good age. But I think as you write a mission statement and you type it up and you frame it and you put it on the wall and you give each child a copy of it, etc., as the years move on, as that last one moves from 10 years of age to 20 to 30, then in almost in the decades, there's not an issue with revising it, There, you can have a mission and then have revisions to the missions. Corporations do that. Families can absolutely do that. So
like a clear thing when we sat down, they were the ages where they understood our love and that we were responsible for their birth and their raising. They're all fully educated, highly accomplished. 3 are married, 1 isn't, and they speak. Our last daughter would say that, she can't find somebody like her dad. No, she used to be the biggest bottle thrower, I'm using bottle in quotations, at me when she was younger and defiant.
Yes.
But now he is run in front of me and she will throw bottles at everybody else. So
yes.
The mission statement would be like, our primary reason it begins for existing is to concentrate all our energies towards the enjoyment of life in the service of our God. An opening statement. By our thoughts, words, and action, we hope to be able to convince others of the existence of God and of a bountiful and joyful love of our Savior. As Christians, we write it. If you're a Muslim or you're a Hindu or whatever it is, something needs to be done where we uplift the institution of marriage. We speak about, those are other points in it. We have other things. It's very heavily skewed to the commandments and holding the things that are true. And so then we also go ahead to put as important points. We further recognize that with our bodies being the temples of the Holy Spirit, we are obligated to keep it chaste and pure. And we go on to talk about the importance of abstinence. Then we also continue to value the importance of participation in athletic events to keep our bodies healthy and active. We further recognize that we are extremely intellectual beings and shall pursue efforts to become the most wise in our quest to reach our optimum potentials. You're letting them dig inside and not waste the talents and gifts that they have been given by God and harnessed by the family unit. We acknowledge the magnificence of the earth, its workings, its inexplicable beauty and array of life, and we vow to protect and preserve it for the generations to follow and for the glorious return of our Lord and Savior. And inside, there's snippets of everything that matters in life, and they all agree on it. So we simplified when we were talking to the 10-year-old, and we even turn to the 18-year-old and say, when you are together with the 10-year-old, make sure she understood what it is that you know we are, and maybe as adults, we didn't put it to her the best of as you would as a peer sharing sibling.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with that, with the younger children, being involved and having their input. I think it helps them to understand that they have a voice and that their voice matters. I was listening to this last week, my grandson, their school they had to shut down for sanitation and sanitizing the classrooms. So he followed me and tagged along with me the whole week. And I heard him on they're doing Zoom. I mean, it's so funny just to watch them and navigate on Zoom. And can I put my answers in the chat? So he was putting his answers in the chat and everything. And it was just funny. She asked him a question and he had to answer it for everyone. And she asked him what was his dream, what was one of his dreams, and he said, I want to own a mansion. He's 6. No, he's 7. Ooh, he'll get me. He's 7. And the teacher said, okay, then you have to write out why you want this mansion. He said, oh,
Yes.
because I love my family and I want 7 rooms or 8 rooms so
Oh,
everybody can live in the same house together. It was just like so a matter of a fact to him, So
yes,
I just thought that was wonderful from his lips to God's ears, right? But that was what was important to him. That's what he wants.
And what I want to say too, now that you have said that in the classroom, and that's what they were doing on Zoom, how important it is for us to have that constant contact with our teachers, that then we pray for them, because our teachers are key to the extension of our philosophy of life, that we really want our children to get at least what we are fighting to give them, and if anything, better from a teacher who is also a good parent, that understands the love they have for this, the work that they do, and will do it selflessly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and something like that tells me that why do you could see the exercise bearing fruit in the right way for your grandson.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I thought about that, and prayers definitely out for our teachers, because I sat there as I was listening, kind of eavesdropping to their class. I heard how she was navigating all of the students, and 6 or 7 year olds. They want to show her everything. This is my grandson said, this is my hat. She's trying to give the lesson. So she has to navigate through while the other one is saying, well, this is my bottle and this is my, because now they have direct control. They can mute and unmute. So it was just really, really, really great to see that. But it's wow, I do take my hat off to the educators. I totally applaud them, at every age. Yes.
Take our hats off, but I'll tell you something, Lady Liz. We have to be on our knees, because they are in troubled waters most of the times, not because of their own doing, but because of these circumstances. And they are needed, very, very needed. I would tell parents, when you drop off your child, when I was teaching, especially at a private institution, you must remember that we have your child for 8 hours, 7 hours. When that child comes home, you're lucky if you're going to get 2 or 3 hours. And it's going to be tired hours and putting them to bed. We are seeing them. Don't be careful how you speak of your teachers to your children, because they're seeing in the large goodness that is coming from the teachers, care and concern, not control. I told a boy one time, that big C that you're talking about, where you're saying your parents have control over you, all they want is control. I say, break it down. Take that big C and make 2 smaller C's. You think it's control. To them, it's their care and their concern for you.
Care and concern. Oh, that's great. Oh my goodness. Well, this is part 2, but we may need a part 3 or part 4, because just want to keep drawing this great information and great teachings from you.
What I wanted to do, if we have a quick little time for the Christian fish depiction that I wanted to draw, that I spoke about. So I am doing this here. So
She wouldn't
I
say
will, I will, I will put it up.
just right there.
Okay. I see your navigator is helping you to navigate through the drawing there.
She's telling me about size, but you know,
Okay.
I know by the time it comes up, it will be fine.
Okay.
So this is the tail of the fish.
Okay.
The 2 points is where Annette was when I met her, and she was 16, and where I was when I met her, I was 17.
Okay.
The 2 ends of the tail where we first met each other, but we
Okay.
grew together, spent time together. And in forming the tail, we had then at this point, we had almost 9 years of courtship and engagement. So at this point, we got married. At this juncture here, we got married.
Okay.
We took the life now. And then we have this purposely drawn this way, something that God laid on my heart to draw. And this is where she continues in our marriage. And not that I am the head of it, but we agree. And this is the formation of the fish. And this is the structure of the fish with the bone, center bone to keep the family together. And this was our first child. This was our second child. And it goes our third child. I will put it up. Our fourth child. And then, and why a point of making the belly is because she bore the children, where she started on top, and the belly now becomes the mother of the part of the fish. So now our focus here at these points here, now where we are, we have to ask ourselves, we came together because we loved each other. We loved each other and we brought children into the world. Each of them now have their own lives. We had a strengthening center bone for our family. Now here we are in our 60s, and we need to refocus on each other like how we had focused on each other in the formation of the tail. And if we don't, we're going to end up with a deformed head. And where does the fish rotten from? The head first. We have to protect that.
Yes.
And look at each other, even though we have children that we love dearly and grandchildren that we are crazy about, we must never forget how it started, when it started, and knowing that the end is somewhere there. We want to put our hands out to each other, hold it, and let the fish be finished without deformation.
That is so beautiful. For our people that are visual, that's a great, and I'm visual, so that's great. I really like that. Thank you for illustrating that out for us. And when you say, when you say in your 60 or what have you, I'm still thinking 40, and that's the truth. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are so beautiful. You're beautiful. You radiate off of one another, and you have a glow. So, you give us out here hope. But now that and this is the thing, and so, grabbing the information from the different couples and then pulling the information, it just helps me to understand, and hopefully our viewers as well, that if you do it the right way with a strategic intention, and definitely with prayer and God first, then you get it right. But when you just do it by happenstance and just a hope and a prayer, what have you, that never works. That's why it's so key and important to have the vision statement, the mission statement, to know yourself. That individual mission and vision statement is so important as well. So, I thank you for everything that you brought here today. Let me, is there anything that you want to wrap us up with? I think he went to go get us some more visual aids.
Yes, he likes the visual. My wrap up is that, we put so much time and effort and intentionality into our education and our careers. And if you're in the sports, how much hours you get up in the morning and you work so hard. So much hard work and intentionality in many other aspects of our life and our being. And I think maybe in the marriage, in a family and a marriage, people don't put the same amount of effort and intentionality and hard work and commitment to it
Yes.
as they would if they were like an athlete, the amount of time they put into sports. So they think about that. But in terms of the family, it's minimal effort, you know.
I think you're
So
so right. I think you're right on point with that. Yes, yes. And thank you for contributing that.
In everything that we talked about here, it comes under three words. And this is what I mentioned earlier on. And this is the book I spoke about.
And I put it down as our book reference. Refire. Let me see. Refire. Don't
Retire.
Oh, Refire is first. And who was that by? I can't see the author.
Ken Blanchard. Look at the authors here.
Ken. Okay.
Ken Blanchard and I think Morton. Don't ask me to pronounce it. I'm seeing it.
I will write it down. And Morton, yes. I'm going to put it in our description so folks can get that book. Okay, I got it. Right.
And what is there noted too is make the best of the rest of your life the best of your life.
Yeah.
This is for your older couples, your older audience.
Well, yes and no. What it is, in it is a message about not retiring and as an old person away from your work. You have skills and abilities that in the older years you could do better than if it was given to you, if they were given to you in your younger years, because it requires an adult mindset. But the strategies that were recommended in it can be employed for refiring and rebooting and refreshing in situations that you might find in younger couples, not for their work, but for their a practical application to their recovering and restoration of the love that was there, but it has been allowed to be dried up like the sponge left out in the sun. You know, we have to find ways to keep ourselves in love, because you can't go and start something else. You have to finish what you were given.
Finish what you were given. Wow. That's beautiful.
Make better, in essence, make better that which is given to you. Whatever is given to you, whether it's a person, a project to help somebody, or a marriage, or a job, or a task, make sure at the end of the day it is better than it was given to you. Otherwise, you were a parasite. You did not put your time and energy and skills and abilities towards that.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time and all of your wisdom. And I promise you, I have almost a book of notes here. I'm just going to organize them and put as many as I can in the description. But just, you know, I thank you so much for all of your sharing and for your caring and everything that you put into our podcast today. And I just look forward to talking with you even more about even other topics that you can bring to the table. So again, I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, and may God bless you and your family and grandchildren and your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will be back next time to bring you more information. And don't forget, stay fearless. Bye for now.